Let's try to remove this person from the background, and the way we're going to do that is by learning how to fix the edges. I'm going to use the quick selection tool, and I'm just going to start brushing on to this guy's face. So as you can see, it starts to get similar colors as I go. I can make my brush bigger, and it selects more when it's a bigger brush. I can go smaller to try to get some of his hair. Hair is really hard to get with the quick selection tool. When you're trying to cut someone out from the background, hair is always the hardest thing. Gotta make sure I get his beard down here. That looks pretty good. I can even go in here and say one thing we didn't talk about in the last episode. So say we want to get rid of something, we can go to back to our selection tool. We can press Option on our keyboard, or Alt if you're on a PC, or just press this minus button right here and subtract. So say we don't want some of that hair, then we can subtract it. But I want that hair back there. That's just if you made a mistake. So say you're going and you actually accidentally selected something like this, then you can go in with your selection tool and erase that part of the selection. Got it? Now let's learn how to fix the edge. We've already been using auto enhance. Without this selected, then it doesn't automatically try to enhance the edges and your selection. But now in the latest version of Adobe Photoshop CC, they have a new select and mask option. So when we select that, this used to be similar to the refine edge tool. We can go down and see these different options. You have edge detection. And so to turn this on, we can use a smart radius. Just click the smart radius. And what it does is it tries to intelligently select what you are thinking. So let me zoom in on here so we can see a little bit better. The background you see is a little bit transparent, so you can see what we're selecting. Without the edge detection on, or without the smart radius on, you see that some of his hair is not there and it doesn't look so good. Without any radius, it's kind of a funny edge. But if we turn on smart radius and increase this, you see that some of these just little wisps of hair get selected. The smooth can also smooth the edges out a little bit. When you have an object with some edges that aren't that smooth, the smooth can help smooth it out. You can even add feathering if you want to the edges, which blurs out the edges. As you can see, it starts to blur out, but I'm not going to add too much feathering, maybe a pixel or two. And then contrast uses the contrast of colors between this selection and what's next to it to know what to select. So see, his hat is dark and the background is this light brown. And so by adding this contrast, so increasing the contrast, it knows that for this part, we want to select this darker part. It uses the edges a little bit better. And then the shift edge tool can shift the edge of your selection in or out. If I go out a lot, let's see what that does. It takes a little bit of time to load. If we go in, it loses some of the edge that we've added. So I'm just going to leave this at 0. You can change the view up here to see the selection better. So if we want it to be on white, we can select on white so we can see what our selection actually is. We can also see a black and white version to see kind of an inverse silhouette of what our selection is. If we have layers in the background, we could see what this would look like in the background. I like this new onion skin feature. When you try to refine the edge, you can kind of see transparency in the background, but a little bit of what the image was. So now if I select OK, we still have our selection, and now it's time to copy and paste. So I'm just going to copy and paste. So now we have this portrait that has been removed from the background. We can add our own custom background if you have an image, or a solid color. So if you click this button right here for the adjustments, and you click solid color, say we want just white, and select OK. Now we have this white fill layer. and I drag this down below layer 1, and we have a white backdrop. We can then go and add a quick vignette. Here's another way to add a vignette that we didn't learn before. If you go to solid color, you add a black solid color. Then we click the layer mask and we use our brush tool with the black selected. We can create a custom vignette by painting out the white. We can create a custom vignette by painting out the black, then dropping the opacity of this. So that's kind of a cool, quick way to create a vignette. We can put this on top of our image or behind it. So that's how you refine the edge using Photoshop's new selection tool. So this is with the latest version of Photoshop. If you look at it before, it's called the Refine Edge tool, and when you make that selection, there will be a button up at the top that says Refine Edge, and you go through basically the same options of shifting the edge, adding feather, adding contrast, or using a smart radius. Play around with it. Sometimes it works better than others. If you have detailed edges like hair, it's going to be a little bit tough to get that perfect selection. It's a lot easier when you have hard edges like this guy's hat, the edge of a shoulder, those kinds of things. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next lesson.